Hello, and thank you once again for spending this time. Together with the teachings of the Buddha, I truly appreciate your presence today. In this session, I would like to take a thoughtful look back at the core of the Buddhist path, the Four Noble Truths, and reflect on how we can apply them to our lives as one continuous, meaningful journey. Some of you might feel that Buddhism is complicated, and it's true, it comes with a vast array of scriptures, technical terminology, and a long, intricate history, all of which can make it hard to know where to begin. But at its heart, the teaching of the Buddha is surprisingly simple and deeply human. After attaining enlightenment, the very first teaching the Buddha shared was the Four Noble Truths. This is both the starting point of Buddhism and one of its most practical and direct guides. The word reality, a fundamental truth of existence. So, the Four Noble Truths are the four core realities of life. What are they? First, the truth of dukkha, that life inevitably contains suffering. Second, the truth of samudaya, that suffering has a cause. Third, the truth of nirodha, that suffering can come to an end. And fourth, the truth of magga, that there is a path to bring that suffering to an end. These four truths have often been compared to a physician's approach. The Buddha first identified the illness suffering. This is the first truth. Then he looked into its cause. This is the second truth. He then assured us that healing is possible, the third truth. And finally, he offered a prescription, the path, which is the fourth truth. In this way, the Four Noble Truths form a complete and compassionate framework. Let us now gently walk through each of these truths together. First, the truth of suffering, dukkha. The Buddha said, life involves suffering, but this suffering is more than just physical pain or emotional sorrow. It includes the deep, often subtle sense that life does not go the way we want. Think about it in youth. We dread aging when healthy. We fear illness, we avoid thoughts of death. We are destined to part with those we love, and to encounter people and situations we dislike. What we desire often slips from our grasp, and even the things we hold dear will eventually be lost. We live constantly within this state of things not going as we wish, and in such moments, we encounter fear, anger, sadness, jealousy, an array of mental suffering. You've probably experienced this yourself, losing someone precious, facing illness or unemployment, struggling with relationships that just won't work, or carrying the weight of unfulfilled dreams and persistent anxiety. These aren't rare exceptions, they are the universal experiences of being human. The Buddha did not turn away from these facts. He wasn't offering some mystical doctrine, but instead quietly pointed to what is real. This is what it means to be human. Importantly, the truth of suffering is not a pessimistic doctrine. Rather, it invites us to open our eyes and see reality clearly. It teaches us the courage to accept suffering, not to deny it, because only through acceptance can true healing begin. So why do we suffer so much? This brings us to the second truth, samudaya. Suffering has a cause. This too is a simple yet powerful truth. The Buddha identified the cause as tanha, often translated as craving or thirst. It includes clinging, desire, ignorance, and anger, the mental defilements that arise within us. We want more. We want to be recognized, to be safe, to be loved. We want things to go our way. And when they don't, we resist, lash out, or fall into despair. The Buddha saw clearly that these mental impulses, these kleshas or defilements, are the true source of suffering. For example, when you feel deep sorrow after a loss, the root of that pain is not the loss itself, but the attachment to what was lost. The thought, I can't live without this, or this was mine, gives rise to suffering. We've all seen how some people suffer intensely over events that others take more lightly. It's not the event, but the attachment that determines the pain. And at the center of attachment lies the grasping at the self, the idea of an unchanging, absolute I. When that self is threatened or harmed, suffering arises. But consider this. Your body is constantly changing. Your mind flows from one moment to the next. Are you truly the same person today as you were yesterday? The Buddhist teachings of anatta non-self and anicca impermanence are not abstract concepts, but profound insights that cut to the very root of suffering. Still, you might ask, is it really possible to be free from all this suffering? To that, the Buddha gave a clear and confident answer. Yes, it is. This is the third truth, Nirodha. When craving ceases, suffering ceases. When the mind is liberated from attachment, there arises a state of peace that nothing can disturb. This is known as Nibbana, or Nirvana. Nirvana is not some faraway place we reach after death. It is a state of mind that can be realized here and now. It is the stillness of a heart no longer swayed by anger or desire, no longer grasping at permanence, but simply resting in the present. Perhaps you felt a taste of this, even briefly while watching a breathtaking sunset, seeing the smile of someone you love, or standing quietly in a peaceful forest. In those moments, you are not craving, not resisting, just present and at peace. Those who reach this state no longer sway in the storms of life. They are not intoxicated by success nor crushed by failure. They smile gently, not from denial, but from a deep inner freedom. This is what the Buddha meant by the end of suffering. And finally, we arrive at the last of the Four Noble Truths. The truth of the path, known in Japanese as Dotai. It's not enough to simply be told, there is suffering, there is a cause, and there is an end. Most of us would be left wondering, so what should we do? The answer lies in a path of practice called the Eightfold Path Right View. Right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. It's a path that encourages us to see clearly, think rightly, speak truthfully, act ethically, live honestly, strive diligently, stay mindful, and cultivate a calm and focused mind. These 8 principles form a balanced and practical system of training that integrates ethics, wisdom, and mental discipline. For example, right speech doesn't simply mean avoiding lies, harmful words, or idle gossip. It also means speaking from the heart, with compassion, and using words rooted in truth and kindness. Right mindfulness, on the other hand, means being deeply aware of the present moment of what is happening within our mind, our body, and in our surroundings without judgment, simply observing with clarity. What makes this path so powerful is its accessibility. You don't need special talents or a privileged background to begin. You can start from where you are right now. The Buddha did not perform miracles to save people. Instead, he saw deeply into the workings of the human mind and clearly outlined the path by which we can free ourselves from suffering. As we've seen, the Four Noble Truths are not abstract philosophical ideas. They are a practical and deeply human process. Recognizing suffering, understanding its cause, trusting that freedom is possible, and walking the path that leads there. In today's society, we are often told to ignore or suppress negative emotions. Be positive. Look on the bright side. Forget the bad stuff. But Buddhism teaches something different. The Buddha's first instruction was, look directly at your suffering, and within that suffering, he revealed, lies the very key to liberation. This doesn't mean we are asked to enjoy suffering. Rather, it means that as long as we keep running from it, we will never find true resolution. But by accepting it, understanding it, and cultivating the wisdom to move through it, we can discover real peace. Even in modern medicine, accurate diagnosis is essential for effective treatment. If symptoms are hidden or ignored, healing cannot truly begin. In the same way, when it comes to mental and emotional suffering, we must first acknowledge its presence, seek out its causes, and find the right approach to address it. This courage and insight, this is the greatest gift the Four Noble Truths can offer us. So how can we bring these teachings into our everyday lives? When you wake up in the morning and feel a heaviness in your heart, instead of denying it, try to gently acknowledge, there is suffering right now. This is practicing the first truth, dukkha, or the truth of suffering. Then ask yourself, what is the cause of this heaviness? Is it regret from yesterday? Anxiety about today? Anger toward someone? This is the practice of understanding the cause, samudaya. Next, remind yourself this suffering will not last forever. There is a way to end it. That is the realization of Nirodha, the truth of cessation. Finally, make a small vow for the day to speak a little more kindly, to act with a little more compassion, to settle your mind just a little more. This is the practice of the path magga. Whether we're facing conflict in our relationships, struggling at work, or worried about our health, the wisdom of the Four Noble Truths can support us. We might not be able to eliminate the problem itself, but we can always transform the way we respond to it. In our modern world overflowing with information, fast-paced change, and rising levels of stress and anxiety, people often find themselves overwhelmed. Social media shows us everyone else's successes, intensifying the feeling of competition and inadequacy. In times like these, the Four Noble Truths offer a rare and valuable guide. Instead of constantly trying to fix the outer world, we can turn inward. We can examine the root of our problems and find the right response. Then, step by step, we walk that path. This timeless process, unchanged for 2,500 years, is still deeply relevant today. Technology evolves, society transforms, but the basic workings of the human heart remain the same. We love and hate, rejoice and grieve, fear and hope. We suffer when reality doesn't meet our expectations. That's why the Buddha's teachings continue to resonate. They speak directly to the unchanging nature of the human experience. To deepen our understanding and practice of the Four Noble Truths, meditation is a powerful tool. In meditation, we sit quietly, focus on our breath, and calm the mind. Then we observe gently and without judgment what is truly happening in our mind and heart. If we feel anxiety, we observe that anxiety. If there is anger or sadness, we observe those too. This is a deep practice of the first truth, seeing our suffering clearly. Then we ask, where does this emotion come from? What attachment or craving gave rise to it? That's the second truth, exploring the cause. Next, we observe how even the strongest emotions eventually pass. Like clouds drifting through the sky, they come and go. This is the truth of cessation. Finally, we cultivate a heart of loving kindness, a sincere wish for the happiness of all beings. This is the practice of the path. Meditation doesn't require a special place or time. Even in daily life, in a train, while walking, doing chores, we can train ourselves to return to the present moment. Alongside wisdom, another essential pillar of Buddhist practice is compassion. The Four Noble Truths are not just for our personal liberation. When we deeply understand the nature of suffering, we become able to recognize the suffering of others. We see that the anger in one person, the sorrow in another, ultimately arises from the same delusions and attachments as our own. With this insight, our hearts soften. Harsh judgment gives way to empathy and understanding. This is the beginning of compassion. Practicing the Four Noble Truths becomes not just a path for ourselves, but a gift to those around us. A mind freed from suffering naturally becomes more kind, more open, more loving. Whether it's with family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers, we begin to relate with deeper understanding and tenderness. This is the path that leads to the ultimate goal of Buddhism, the happiness and liberation of all beings. And perhaps right now, in your own life, there is a suffering you feel powerless against, something you've lost, something you long for, but cannot reach, a constant anxiety, or a silent loneliness with no words. The Buddha speaks to us even within suffering. There is a path. If you walk this path, it will surely lead to liberation. Though these words were spoken over 2,500 years ago, they still resonate powerfully in our hearts today. The teaching of the Four Noble Truths is not something that can be fully grasped upon first hearing, nor is intellectual understanding alone sufficient. It is a wisdom that must be practiced repeatedly in daily life, internalized through experience, and cultivated with patience. From this very moment, I encourage you to embark on your own journey of the Four Noble Truths. Do not turn away from suffering, face it with courage, seek its causes with wisdom. Hold on to the hope of liberation. Step forward, one step at a time, with the determination to walk this path. The way shown by the Buddha is not reserved for a select few, it is for you. It is a path that you can begin today, in this very moment. There is no need for perfection, and mistakes are part of the journey. What truly matters is that you keep moving forward, steadily and with perseverance. From within suffering, may you discover your own answers. And may those answers not only illuminate your life, but also bring light to those around you. Thank you sincerely for listening today. I look forward to meeting you again next time and sharing more of the wisdom of Buddhism. May this day bring peace and happiness to you and to all beings.